Hello and welcome to Let's Boop Snoots.
I'm Heidi.
And I'm Vero. And today we're going to talk about dog car safety.
And other types of dog safety as
Mm-hmm.
well.
And maybe some dog sounds.
Oh, maybe some dog sounds. We can talk. Yeah, we can talk a little bit about those too.
Dog sounds. But first, did you see on Instagram the new puppy on Instagram?
No, which puppy on Instagram?
Tucker's son.
Tucker had a son?
Tucker had a son and is now in the same house as Tucker.
No way.
Yes.
Okay, I'm
Todd
going to...
Todd Budson.
Todd Budson. I'm going to search right now. Tucker.
He is super cute.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Todd.
Tucker Budson. Yep. Oh, he's very cute. Yes, he is. Oh. And Tucker's got a shirt that says best dad ever. I can see that as well.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a cute patoot.
He is
Oh my
so
goodness.
cute.
You've never had two dogs at once, eh?
No.
So it's almost as if they know. It's weird because like I've had it where like when we had Officer Scraps and we were getting Becky, we had like we bought her through a foster program like in the area, and we had to do the whole like meet and greet thing, and it's very different when it's an adult dog. Like I find it's like when you bring a baby into the home, it's like uh-oh, like this one's here to stay, because like when Becky came in, it was in like I think I mentioned this before, like she came in for them to have a meet and greet to see if they got along and that this was going to be feasible like adoption, and she was super submissive, so Scraps like came over to check her out, and it was like right on her back, like hey, legs up in the air, like I submit. I submit, and like it ended up being fine between those two. But when you look at the videos of people who are introducing like a puppy to like an older dog, it's like they know. And it was the same with Becky. It's like she came over and like she was sniff, like I remember it so well because I brought in Gibbon, was like, oh man, here we go. It's so funny because like you get ready for a puppy in so many ways, but like when you're in the moment of like, oh god, how is this gonna go, like I was a little bit nervous because I was like, god, is she gonna kill him? Like is she gonna eat him for dinner? She's gonna eat him alive? But Becky like was pretty good, like when once he started like testing his boundaries and like coming over to her and stuff like that, like she would put him in his place, which is what they need to learn, like essentially.
Yeah.
But the initial like meeting, it was like she came over, there was no growling, there was no like Elvis Presley lip, like nothing. It was just like sniff 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 sniff.
Aw.
And then like she was just like really curious, and then she like went and laid down and was just watching, like very, like you can tell them like they're on high alert, like that's for sure. Like she was just like, oh my god, what is going on here? And then when I was training him, like she was in the other, I would put her in the other room because it was like just another distraction, like as he was working up and coming along with his training and stuff. So I'm sure that pissed her off too, but but I think they know
Yeah.
I think they know when you look at the videos, like, and I think maybe Goldens are like just like more, I don't know, maybe they're more excited when it's their own kind. I don't know. Like Becky
I
is,
think they know when it's their own kind.
yeah,
Like even Wiggum got more excited when he saw a lab.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that must be it. Like I wonder if we get another Wyme after, if Gibbon will be like, oh my god, it's a baby me.
Baby me.
Oh my goodness, mini me. We're gonna have so much fun. I'm gonna teach you all the things, even the bad stuff that mom hates. But
Do you think Tucker knows that's his son?
I don't know. I wonder because like not only dogs, like you see in other animals, like have you seen videos where like a cow was separated from her baby? And like it
Mm-hmm.
shows like when the baby's coming back to them, and like how like they jump and like run over to it and like lick 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 and sniff, and you can see that they're happy, like
Yeah.
it's like very obvious, you know what I mean? But
I
I
think
think
the
that they,
moms know more than.
yeah. That's true, it could be very well true. But yeah, like they have like a super high, like
Yeah, they must
Sent.
know.
They gotta
They
know.
gotta know.
I would think that they would know.
Aw, Tucker and Todd. So cute.
Yeah, so cute. Congratulations, Tuck. Congratulations.
So cute. Makes me
Oh,
want to get another one. Not
yes.
really. Not right now.
No, not yet. Not
Not
yet.
yet.
'Cause
I'm
not
still
in
Ralph
teenager
is
mode.
driving me, yeah, he's driving me crazy a little bit.
Yeah. Is he having a little oppositional defiance disorder?
Yes. Oh, he likes to jump on the table.
Like,
If he didn't do that, he would be okay, but
but he does it right in front of you, you were saying, eh?
yes.
I find that interesting. I find that
But he
very
knows he's not
interesting.
supposed to.
Does he like look you right and dead in the eye and then jump on the table?
No. It's
Okay.
like not if I'm at the table, but if I'm at in the kitchen and I can still see the table, he'll know that I'll see him.
Yeah. And he just
He
goes and
still
jumps
does
up
it.
there.
And I
Hmm.
go, Ralph, no, and then like 2 minutes later he does it again.
Did you try the air horn yet? Scare the
Not
crap
yet.
out of him. I would go in the kitchen and wait for him to go. And the second his paw hits the table, do the air horn.
Ooh, where can I get one?
Literally at Canadian
A
Tire
dollar? A
for like
dollar?
$9.99. Maybe dollar store too. You should check it out. Dollar store has everything, but I know for sure at Canadian Tire because I brought
Mm,
one to like a charity hockey game and drove
okay.
everybody nuts with it once. Every time someone scored, I was like, "Yeah!"
I'm definitely gonna go get one and I'm gonna hide.
I would hide behind the counter, and then when you see him, as soon as he puts a paw up on it, I would sound the horn, sound the alarm.
Would you say Ralph no?
Um,
Hmm.
this is a tough one because remember, like on one of our most recent episodes, I was talking about oh my god, why can I think of his name? Sean something. He's a dog trainer, and he was talking about the use of the e-collar, and that when they
Yeah.
do something like counter surfing or something
Oh
like that,
yeah, he
he makes it
just
like rather than he doesn't want anyone to have to be there. He wants it to be like a life or death, like
right.
you know what I mean?
Oh right.
An
Okay.
act of God, like
So yeah.
correction. So yeah, Yas. So I would you could hide, but I don't know because
I'm gonna
especially
hide and not say Ralph no.
because especially with the way that he's been adjusting to all of your corrections so far. I don't know, like if he knows that. I don't know because he's been adjusting to it, right? Sean O'Shea is the name I was thinking of. Everybody, by the way, Sean O'Shea with
Sean O'Shea.
the good dog training. Um, so yeah, that's a tough one. I would want to give him the command, especially since he's still young. But at the same time, well, it's not counter surfing. It's more of like a piece of furniture that you don't want him on, right?
Well, it's the dining room table.
Oh, it's the dining room table.
Yeah. So I
Mm.
think I would just do the horn
Do the horn.
the first time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hoping that it scares the poops out of him. Not right there on your
Not
floor, but
right.
but you know. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Car safety.
Car safety.
Let's get started. What do you do? I know what you do.
I know. I
I do.
know.
What I do is even worse, I think.
Well,
So we're going to talk about tools
yeah.
that you can use to keep your dog safe in the car. So the first one is the harness seat belt. So there's I googled this because I never actually seen one. So there's one that it's almost like a loop, kind of like a leash loop where you put your hand in, and it has like a carabiner clip at the end, and you would clip it onto your dog's harness.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the loop kind of goes into the seat belt. So
Okay.
you clip the seat belt into the buckle, like the buckle's clipped.
Yep.
But when you do that, you put the seat belt through the loop, so it's secure, and then you
Yep.
would clip the carabiner clip onto your dog's harness. And then there's another one where there's a carabiner clip, and then it's like a buckle at the end that just buckles into
The seatbelt
the
buckle.
seat belt buckle.
Yeah.
So that is one tool that you can use. And then the other type of harness is a zip line harness. Have you heard of that?
No.
That was the first time that I've seen this. So it looks like a long seat belt, and it has two hooks at the end, like almost like a bungee cord.
Yeah.
And you can either tie that to the handles where you put your hand. I don't know if a lot of the new cars have that though. You know those like handles at the top of the windows?
So we used to call those, I'm not going to swear here, but the OS handles. And it's like the handle like right above the window that you usually hang your like dry cleaning on, or that you grab when you're like, oh, poop. Like, that's what we
So
call
yeah.
them.
So those handles.
Yep.
So you can attach the hooks to that or to the seat belts.
Oh, okay. But it's a
So
bungee cord?
it looks no, like the hooks are like
The
the
hooks are
bungee
like the
cord. Yeah,
bungee.
they're
Oh,
they're
okay.
at
They're like,
both
yeah.
ends,
Yeah.
but it looks like a seat belt.
Okay.
And then again, it's like a loop, and then there's a carabiner clip that you would hook onto your dog's harness, so your dog can go like left and right.
Yes.
It's like a
That's
little zip
interesting.
line.
That's
Yeah.
fair. That's very cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I never seen that.
Yeah.
The other thing that you can do, this one's kind of funny. This is only for small dogs. It's
Mm-hmm.
a booster car seat carrier.
Mm-hmm.
So it attaches to like the headrest,
Mm-hmm.
either back seat or front seat. And there's a way that you attach your dog. Some I saw some pictures, and some dogs look like they're just loose in it, which wouldn't actually help. But I think the dog is actually wearing a harness and has again like a loop that's attached somehow with a carabiner clip.
Okay.
So for small dogs, they're kind of like elevated a little bit
Yes.
because the box doesn't rest on the seat. It's elevated.
I've seen those before.
Yeah, I've never seen those. I
I
thought they were funny.
I've seen photos of them on the internet, but I've never seen anybody use them before.
Okay, it's kind of funny.
It is kind of funny.
Now they can see out the window.
It's almost like a little like basket that you like put them in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
put them in front of your bicycle.
It's like a baby carrier. You can transfer from bicycle to car, everybody. It's a versatile product.
Yep. Put that around your neck.
Hmm.
And then the other one that I saw is a dog guard. So that's like a grate, not grate, but like a fence thing that you put
Oh,
in your trunk so the dogs kind of stay in the trunk and they can't get to the front.
yes. Okay.
But it looks like you have to bolt it into position.
Yeah, I wonder if you'd need your car company to get that done, or like a mechanic or something to put that in place.
Yeah, I
I,
don't know.
I remember seeing those. Remember when we did our show on pet friendly companies, and Subaru was one of them? I bet you
Hmm.
anything you can opt for the dog guard in that car.
Yeah.
But it's I get that how that makes sense and everything, but then it makes your car less versatile. So like if you're trying to do a
Well,
move and trying
yeah.
to squeeze like a mattress in and like half your life in there, then I would imagine it would get in the way. Like you'd almost want some sort of apparatus where you would be able to take it down or remove it somehow, like clip it in place, but then like be able to
Yeah.
clip it out of place.
Yeah.
Maybe this is yet
I don't know.
another innovative product.
Boop.
Let's boop guards.
Keep your snoots in the back.
Yes.
And this is something that I have, the back seat hammock.
The back seat. Oh, yes. Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
but it's not tall enough. So Ralph is still able to get to the front if he was not secured somehow. So it's like this it's kind of like a tarp that you put on your back seat, and it rests on the seat, and then it goes along the back rest, and then the back rest for the front seats. So it
Hmm.
creates like a little hammock. And then it's high enough that your dog is not able to get to the front, and it protects your seats.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I've seen that
Yes,
one before too. Are
I
these all
like
the
that one.
are these all the products that you found?
No, there's two more.
Because I'm thinking about
One's
like
similar.
the pros and cons of
Yeah,
all of these.
yeah.
We'll get to that in a second. Let's hear this one you got.
This one's kind of similar. So it's the back seat barrier. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just like a smaller piece that you would put where the dog would go between the seats,
Oh
the
yes.
front
Okay.
seats. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they have like the one that's in the picture has like a little window so that your dog can still see. And then the last one is a crate,
Yeah.
which is probably the safest
I would
out of
think
all of
so.
them.
Yes,
Yeah.
I would say so. So
Yeah.
I can remember there being like, you know how the government comes out with like different ads all the time, like regarding different things. I remember one that was talking about passenger like safety, and it was saying that like that when there's a car accident, the the cause of most of the damage or mortality or super like fatal like accidents is s- people not wearing seatbelts because your body gets goes projectile, right? And you're
Mm-hmm.
hitting other bodies in the car, or you're going your body's going through the windshield essentially. So I think that the more freedom your dog has in the car, the more danger it prospectively is, right? Because
Yeah.
it's going to be projectile in the event of like a super bad crash.
Mm-hmm.
um and it will be interesting to see where law enforcement goes with this, because as the pet industry continues to grow and people continue to get fur babies rather than real babies, I can see this being enforced. But I can tell you for a fact, going to, being a frequenter of dog parks and noticing, being a person who notices dogs, especially with dogs hanging their heads out the windows and like being like, oh look at the doggy, oh look at the doggy, oh look at the doggy, and when driving across Canada with the dog and everybody looking into our vehicle going, oh look at the doggy, look at the doggy, I have rarely seen um any of these things used that you speak of. Now mind you, if it
Mm-hmm.
was the hammock forever for the hammock for instance might be a little bit less visible from like when you're on the road like looking into other people's cars, but
I'm not sure the hammock would do much
and the hammock wouldn't
if you
do
would
much
get into a car
into
crash.
a car accident, not for the dog anyways, but it might act as a barrier to keep it going through the windshield. Is it high enough? Because you were saying it isn't, and that
It's like
Ralph
at
can
the
still get in
headrest.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's at the headrest, so it's tough to say, and again, it depends on the
Oh,
size of
mine's
the
even
dog.
lower. I think mine's more like of a seat protector.
Oh, okay.
It's supposed to go up, but it doesn't quite. Yeah.
So I would say that things to consider, because I can remember looking on Groupon once. I was like going through, and this was when I was like getting ready for Gibbs as a puppy, and I got this contraption that was literally a dog leash, except on the other end of the leash, so the one clipped to his collar, and then the other side of the leash was the buckle that goes into the seatbelt buckle. But if you think about that one too, if you get into an
Yeah.
accident, you are beheading your dog in the vehicle, which is
Yeah.
is most likely to happen, or you're going to split their neck or something. Either way, the dog's going to get hurt. So to me, the one that makes the most sense is the harness,
Yeah.
either the harness or the crate or the dog grill, like you said, where they're like in the trunk, because I
Mm-hmm.
think the least amount of space that you have for the dog to have movement in the event of an accident, the safer the dog's going to be, and the safer the other people are going to be in the car.
Yeah.
So the downside to something, I would say, well, I just told you what the downside is to like just a collar seat buckle thing, is your dog's head's going to go flying, or you're going to crack their neck, and it's going to be traumatizing for all involved anyways. But mind you, if it's an accident that bad, it might be serious for everyone involved.
Yeah.
um but in terms of like just general like traveling comfort and stuff like that, um you're going to have to train your dog to any one of these devices, because if your dog's not used to wearing a harness, you're going to have to get them comfortable with the harness. And then if your dog's used to moving freely around the
Mm-hmm.
car, now they're going to be secure to one spot. So I also kind of like, I wanted to talk to you more about that zip lining thing. So it's like two cords and you attach it to both of the handles on the driver's side and the passenger side so that they can move back and forth
Yeah, but on the back seat.
on the back seat. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that one might
Or the
work.
seat belts from the back seats.
So that one might work, but then again, you're going to have to make sure that the line is taut enough so that they can't go
Yeah.
through the windshield, but also relaxed enough so that they can like lay down if they want to. Because I can tell you for a fact, dogs are going to sleep or look out the window while they're in the car.
Yeah.
It's one, they're doing one of those two things, unless they're
Yeah.
like super car sick and then they're like puking and like anxious and like walking around a lot and stuff like that. But you want them to be able to have some sort of like free movement like throughout the car.
Hmm. Yeah. What I've done with Ralph is that he does have a harness, so I put the harness on,
Hmm.
and then I have an extra leash that I tied around the headrest, like the middle headrest,
Yeah.
and then I would attach that to his harness.
So I can it's funny because you asked what I do and it's not the greatest either. And the answer to that folks is I do nothing. My dogs have free reign in the car and typically what happens is like we have a Dodge Caravan and when my husband and I are driving or even if it's just me that's driving, um Gibbon sits in between the two drivers and we call him our co-pilot. And I have photos. I have photos of Gibbon as co-pilot with us, and he sits there, or he'll go and he'll do the bagel like on one of the seats in the back,
Yeah. See, I
curl up
put
into his little
Ralph's.
ball.
I don't know. I think mine's worse. I attached the leash to his collar.
Yeah,
So, yeah. Maybe I'll
yeah.
make him wear the harness now.
I'm very curious
All the
about the
time.
zip line one because like that seems to make the most sense to me. But if I had and it depends on what kind of vehicle you have too, right? So if you have the nice like
Hmm.
Subaru and you've got like a wagon of some sort, then I would probably do the dog guard thing and then keep them in the back because then they can lay down, they can poke their head up, they can look out the window if they want. And again in the event of an accident, they're not going through any windows. Like
Yeah.
they won't be able to get enough like force, like physical force to break through a window anywhere.
Yeah.
So that one's sort of my favorite. And because we have two dogs as well, then it becomes an issue, right? Like, so how many dogs do you have? So even with the zip liner, how many dogs can you fit on that zip line? And then they're going to get all tangled and it's going to be like all
That's
knotted.
true. That's true.
And they're going to
So
be
you
like,
would need like two seat belts then.
yes, exactly. Like you would
You
need
would the seat belt harness.
so there's a lot of like variables to take into consideration when thinking about safety for your dog and then like the little basket thing again like I've seen like ads for the baskets where they're not attached to anything really, they're just like literally sitting in this basket like for the ride. But
Whee!
if there is a little harness attachment, same thing, like you'd have to make sure that they can't try to jump out of the basket, which a little dog would probably try to do because then they're
Mhm.
like hanging by their harness like outside the basket and being like what's going on. So before you go driving anywhere, like again, like just like training and just like introducing and socializing your dog to these types of like environments, go slow with it. So like as I mentioned on previous episodes, I had a lot of colleagues that got puppies, COVID puppies during the pandemic. And two out of the three of them, um, the dogs were not acclimated to the car at all. So one had a golden puppy, and she would put the dog in the car, and the second she turned the car on, he'd pee the car, psst, everywhere. And I was like, okay, now make sure. And then so then she was like, oh man. So started taking him to the bathroom, making sure she was empty before getting into the car. Didn't matter. The second you turn on the car, she'd pee the car.
Wow.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time. So my suggestion to her, and I can remember asking this in a Q&A with Solid Canine Training because I was curious to know
Mhm.
if I was right. So my suggestion to her was to start focusing on some of the other training. So you need to give them a command because clearly it's an anxiety issue that's causing her to pee, like when she's like being exposed to certain things that she's not used to, like the vibrations of the car, the sound of it, like the movement, like oh my god, this is unstable, like, and she's freaking out. So my suggestion to her was start focusing on some of your other command training, like sit, stay. So when you get in the car, you tell her sit, stay, and you work it on that. So like even I said, just open the door and to have her hop into the car, say stay, and like walk away from the car. Don't even turn the car on. Once she can stay in the car and listen to you, well, you can walk a few steps away, then start closing the door and see how she does. Then get her into the car, do sit stay again, turn on the car and start by just doing that. And once she can start doing that, then drive around the block once. So again, like you need to take your time, right? It's like
Mhm.
anything else that you're introducing your poochie
Yeah.
pooch to. So
Yeah.
and solid K9 backed me up on that. I was like, oh my god, I'm smart. Oh my god, I know what I'm doing. I give some solid advice. So her dog's come along like a long way now, and because it was a very problematic for her, and this is the things that you sort of learn as you go once you get a puppy. It's like, oh my god, because she had to get to work in the morning and she was dropping her puppy off at her retired parents' house. That was her doggy daycare. So every morning she had to get her dog in the car,
Oh,
and the dog was peeing the car, so she was just putting towels down like in the beginning, and I was like, hey, on your spare time you need to start working on this or you're gonna have a pee pee soaked car
yeah.
all the time. So she did, and the dog's like done very very well, thank
Ooh,
goodness.
good.
Same with another colleague, their dog, she just like couldn't, like same thing, agitated, couldn't settle, would start foaming, and she like there's some dogs that get car sick, right? So they start foaming at the mouth and they foam and foam and foam and foam and foam until they eventually like barf. So there's a few things you can do with that too. It's just like you go on a slow, like just again, drive around the block, drive to the end of the street and back, then drive around the block and start like
Mhm.
slowly working your way up. Or you can give
Yeah.
them gravel if you're going on a long trip. It depends on how frequently you're having your dog in the car, right?
Yeah.
So, and how far you're willing to go and train and acclimate your dog to the environment. But
I've been lucky.
yes. And
Never
I've
had car
always been lucky
issues.
too. I've never
Yeah.
had car issues either, but I can remember taking a friend up to the cottage with her dog, and she was following me, thank goodness, in her own vehicle because her dog got super car sick, and it was just like drool, 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 barf.
Oh.
Drool, 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 barf. Drool, 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 barf.
Barf.
So we had to stop. Like we were stopping in like 20 to 30 minute increments to let the dog barf or let her clean out her car for a bit, and same thing, towels everywhere, and it's just a pain in the butt. So she tried giving her dog a bit of gravel for the way home, and he did a lot better too.
No, that's good.
hmm so there are options involved. um, but yeah, like so we have a van and we have two dogs, so the trunk space in a van is nice and like not that big and not a lot of space. So we tend to put Becky in the back and then Gibbons sits in the front as the co-pilot. But we used to have a Subaru with Scraps, and same thing, he would always go in the trunk, and that was like an excellent space. Like to me, like
Yeah.
the ideal situation for me is like a Subaru with the dog guard. But again, if you're packing to go to a cottage, like that doesn't leave you with any trunk space because the dog's there, right?
No.
But so it
Well, you
depends
can
on,
have different things, right?
yeah.
You can still have like a seat belt or
Yeah, you can try the
for those
harness
times.
for those times when it's like you have people and stuff you got to bring too. That's why we got the stow and go van.
Mhm.
You can stow and go seating, extra storage space, extra dog space, extra everything space. But it will be interesting to see like where we go law enforcement wise. Like if an officer pulled you over right now, but you can see people, like tons of people driving around with their dogs just freely roaming around the car.
Yeah.
Like I have never seen or heard of anyone being stopped or ticketed because of their dog in the car. Like you see trucks, right? With like dogs' faces hanging
Yeah.
out the windows. There's
Yeah.
like the dogs that love it and it's just like face to the wind and tongue
Even that's
flapping.
dangerous.
Yes, it really is.
They can get something in the face, or you can break all of a sudden, and guess where your dog's face is going to end up?
Yes, yes. Yeah, that's dangerous too.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you're right, but it happens on the frequent, and I like I said, I have never heard of anyone being ticketed or the law being
No.
enforced there.
Yeah.
Yums.
I like seeing doggy faces though.
I love seeing doggy faces. So on the safety note, so we talked about car safety, and currently in the city of Ottawa, where Vero and I reside, there has been multiple heat waves.
Yes.
We are talking a 42-degree weather. What is that
All
for
week
our
long.
American friends? I totally forget. Let's see. With the humidity, it's been awful, and people are sweating it out, and dogs are sweating it out. So that is 42 with the humidity is 107 degrees Fahrenheit, y'all. And it's hot.
It's how
So
diggity dog.
I think it's worthwhile to talk about heat safety. So,
Hmm.
the big obvious one that everybody talks to, and there's ads and there's like memes and there's posters and there's like reminders from your SPCA, is do not leave your dog in the car. And
Hmm.
there was like a video that a vet did where like had a thermometer in the car and sat in the car on a 42-degree day in a parking lot somewhere, and sat there and was just like describing how he felt, and like when he started to get like when it started to get unbearable, and he thought he was, and you could see him sweating and you could see him like, and that's someone without a fur coat on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So um where we are, they often remind people that you are allowed to break a window. If you see a dog that's suffering in a car, and like there's a lot of questions that come around this, because some people are like, "Oh, well, can you leave your dog in the car if you leave it running with the AC on?" And I don't think they even recommend that, because you don't know if your
No.
car, if you go inside somewhere and your car shuts down or you run out of gas or something like that, your dog's still like in danger. So when it's super hot out, like just don't bring your dog with you
Leave
for
your dog at
errands, people.
home.
Leave your dog at home.
Yeah.
Leave your dog at home. And if you have to, I know it's a pain in the butt, but if you have to run in real quick to pick something up, if you have to run in even real quick,
Don't do
do
it.
it, do it before you leave on the
Yeah.
trip. Go run out, get all your stuff done, then come back and get your dog and then go. And it's hard
Yeah.
because we put ourselves and we think, oh well, it's okay for a quick couple of minutes, but you could very potentially get a bunch of strangers breaking the windows on your car. So be ready for that.
I would do it.
I would do it too. And I was like watching this, like I was explaining to Vero that the other day I was leaving my house to go somewhere to pick up some food for my child and I. And someone in my neighborhood cut me off, and I saw they had a dog in the car, and they ended up driving to the exact same plaza where we were. And I saw her park the car, and I was like, is she going to leave her dog in the car? Because it was 42 degrees with the humidity outside. And she rolled down a window, and she was the first car, like her car window to the front door of the store was like maybe like 6 feet, maybe 10, and I could see her like she rolled down the window, and then she was worried that the dog was going to actually jump out of the window, which I wouldn't have blamed him because it was friggin' hot. And luckily,
Hmm.
I guess she had called in the order, so it was literally just run in, pick up the bag, and come out. But even that is like, if anybody
Yeah.
sees you, like, and I was watching her, like, it's still sketchy, man. So just like, don't do it. Like, when I was like, why'd you have to bring your dog with you? Why? Just
I
go
don't
get your
know.
food and
Because
then
it
drive
looked
them
like
back
she
at
was coming
home.
from home, maybe.
Yes, I don't know. Maybe, or maybe she was going home from somewhere. You don't know people's situations, but still, like,
Don't do it.
just don't do it. Just don't do it. So, the next thing that I'll say is because, and I've asked this of my good friend at Canines in the Capital, because she walks dogs frequently. So I'm like, when the weather is that hot, like, what do you do? And she said, I
Mm.
take them out, but it's like 5 minutes and back inside because it's too hot for them. It is
It's
too
too,
hot.
yeah. It's
It's
too hot on their
too
paws, too.
hot, and that's the other thing. So she goes out like on a day like that, and depending on what time of day she's going out, she goes out and she puts the back of her hand down to the pavement. And if it is uncomfortable for her, well, then it is sure as heck uncomfortable for the dog as well.
Yep.
So, keep them in
Mm.
like a grassy area. If you have to walk on the pavement, like to get there, like, I don't know, maybe like put booties on them, like, which you think would
Yeah.
might make them like hotter, but you need to protect their pads, because like you see the photos of that on the internet too. They get blisters, they get burns. You're burning them. You are burning your dogs, people.
Yes.
And the other thing is that, like, they recommend, like they recommend on days like this, for humans not to be out like for very long and not be active and stuff like that. So same thing with your dog. Don't take them like on a 30-minute run. You're going to dehydrate them, you're going to overheat them. It's
Yeah.
just simply not good for them. It's not good for their system, it's not good for their organs, and you just stay in. So if you have a type of dog that's super hyperactive and used to a ton of exercise, again, it doesn't have to be physical, it can be mental exercise. So stay inside, stay cool, have him wait 5 to 10 minutes for his food, do some different tricks or training stuff where it's using up a lot of their mental capacity, because it's going to tire them out equally as long as if you took them for a nice long run. Um, the other common mistake, and again, like I'm gonna have to go back and fact check this, but there's the whole internal and external temperature thing. So remember, it's like some people put, like, think that they can put their dog in an ice bath to like cool them down or whatever,
Oh.
but then that's triggering their system to actually warm up and you're making them hotter.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the inside has to match like the outside. So don't like let your dogs go into freezing cold temperatures thinking you're gonna like make them cooler, because it could potentially be life threatening if you do that.
Mhm.
So do a little reading and looking up on that. But at the same time, like you can give them like an ice, like sometimes people freeze like chicken broth or something like that. You can give them a cool treat. I think you and I were talking about on the last episode that we give them a frozen chicken neck, and
Yeah.
it's like a nice little lollipop
Little
for them. They're just
snacky.
like they're outside with their gross, disgusting chicken neck lollipop, but they love it, and it's
In
a
the
nice,
sun. Oh.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. It's kind of gross when you think about it, but they love it.
Yeah, they do.
There's all kinds of recipes out there for like doggy popsicles. Again, you use broth of different stuff and put like little chunks of something in there, and it's like they will go to town on that. And that's something that's healthy. It's gonna keep them a bit cool, but don't
Mhm.
go to extremes like I mentioned earlier. And again, just like always, people. I don't know. I think people just think like animals are just so much more resilient that we are, but not necessarily.
You just don't know, right? How they're feeling.
Exactly. And
They
especially if
can't
you
talk to you.
they can't talk to you. So you need to watch them. You need to be cognizant of it. You need to think like, oh, I have shoes on, but they don't. And like look at their paw. So yeah, be careful on the concrete. Don't take them out walking on the concrete, and or wet their paws or go across the concrete really quickly. If it's like keep them on the grass. Like we have like little grass patches along our sidewalk, so I always walk them on the
Mhm.
grass. But I always, ever since talking to canines in the capital, I will always touch the pavement and be like, how hot is it? And I'm like, okay, that's not bad tonight, like especially when it cools down at night.
Yeah.
So maybe take your walk in the evening when things start to
Early
cool down,
morning.
or early morning, but always put your hand down to the pavement and think, can I stand this? Because if you can't, um, neither can your dog.
No.
So just really think about it. So again, change your routine up a little bit. Be careful of like ice baths and stuff like that. That's not necessarily good for them. Try to avoid outside at all costs if it's like crazy hot, like it has been for us. Like I have not taken my dogs for any kind of walks. And
Yeah, I've taken Ralph in the evenings, but
yeah,
not today.
no, it's just too hot. And if you have
Yeah.
somewhere like a cottage where it's like they can go and lay down in the shade and maybe go jump in the lake, like yeah, that's great. But
Mhm.
it's just too hot. There's a hot dog. You want to eat hot dogs, you don't want to kill hot dogs. It's the wrong kind of hot dog, everybody.
Yeah.
It's the wrong kind of hot dog. But no, for sure. Just take all of those things into consideration in terms of safety. And the same thing goes for cold temperatures. I think I told this story. This is like a horrible story, and I promise, like, we won't end on this note. But um, we live in a city where we have extremes of both temperatures. So, same thing. If it's like minus 42 outside, um, don't leave your dog
Oh
in the
yeah.
car. Put booties on them because they're gonna get like frozen paws. You're gonna freeze their paws.
Yeah.
They're gonna get frostbite. Um, Dress them up if you have a short dog and they're going out for a long time. We talked about, like with some of the dogs with shorter fur, that sometimes they can get cracks in their ears and stuff like this,
Oh
and then
yeah.
they come inside and then they bleed everywhere. So that's like another thing to be mindful of. And again, a friend of our family's had a G Shap, his like lifelong friend. I think the dog was like 13 or 14 years old, and he'd had a new roommate. And while he was at work, the roommate woke up, went and let the dog outside when it was minus 40 outside, and fell asleep and didn't hear the dog barking. And the dog froze to death
No
outside.
way.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh.
yeah, yeah. So, same
Mm.
thing, but like the other day I came home and the dogs were outside and nobody was around and everybody was upstairs, and one of my kids had let the dogs outside and totally forgot. And so again, like set a timer or remind yourself like when you're letting them out, or stand at the door no matter what until they're done doing their
Yeah.
business to let them back in. Just try to be mindful, and we're all human and we all make mistakes and these horrible things happen sometimes. But that's not fun when you get yourself into a situation like that. So I've
No.
I've heard stories of either way, like they die of heat exhaustion, like outside. We
Yeah.
have a very close encounter with like that one friend of the family where they died of like frozen temperatures outside. So just always be mindful of the weather. Always be mindful of their safety
They're
doggos.
safety.
Be safety. Are you safety doggos? And yes, always keep that in mind. And also, again, when you go shopping and you're like walking in from the parking lot, always just have a look in the cars and see if you see any poor doggos in there, because you might have to go and break
Hmm.
a window for
Yeah.
somebody.
I was telling Heidi I was gonna carry a little hammer in my car.
Have to call it like the dog saver. We'll have to think of it like a,
Hammer time.
yeah, or let's boop windshields. let's let's
Boop
boop windows.
windshield.
The dog saving tool that you can't live
Boop.
without. Boop, and then we'll leave our card behind. Just take their dog.
Excuse me, lady, what are you doing? I'm just booping your window.
If it, we'll leave a little card saying, if you're wondering why your window's smashed, tune into our podcast and find out why.
Episode 50.
That'll be a good way to get listeners. Maybe we should go out on days like this and just boop windows. Oh my god, that's funny. Let's smash Snoots. Let's save Snoots.
Aw.
Poor
Yes.
doggos.
Oh my
Poor
God.
doggos.
They're
I
all
wonder if
innocent.
there's any like stats on that, like how many dogs per year. It's got to be high because they're making ads and like safety like videos and public announcements like all
Yeah.
the time about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's see how many dogs die in hot cars each year. Let's see.
Hot Wheels.
From 2000, the hot car death statistics for pets. From 2018 to 2019, 78 pets suffered heat stroke and died in a hot car. That's not that much.
78
Yeah. And this is
in
this.
Ottawa?
I don't know if this is an auto. I'm trying to figure out where this is for. Oh, and this is like a depressing website. It talks about how many children die in hot cars too.
Oh
Oh God,
no.
let's not talk about that. Let's just not talk about that. This doesn't say where, but this website is called the Zebra, thezebra.com. Key Statistics and Insights, National Safety Council. But for where? Who are you? I don't know who these people are. Sorry, folks. I can't find it out. But anyways, I'm not sure what that website is. We'll definitely have to look for more definite statistics than that.
Stats. Yeah.
Some better
I'm
stats.
curious now.
PETA would know.
PETA? PETA.
PETA. PETA. 31 animal companions have endured heat-related deaths in 2021. Every year, PETA receives reports about dogs, cats, and other animals who have died after being left in hot cars or outside during hot weather. And who does PETA cover again? PETA? PETA?
I don't know.
I think they're North
Based
America.
in Virginia. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's mostly they're talking about the states here. So, but
I
again,
feel
the
like
numbers
that's
don't
not a
look
lot.
too high. That's not a lot either. That's totally not a lot. We'll have to touch base on that and get some more numbers. But so far, from two different sites, it's not a huge amount of numbers. So these public service announcements are working, folks. That's great.
Yes.
Will be yet
I
another
wonder how many
reminder.
are discovered.
Yes.
Hmm.
And how many are, and that's reported ones too, you have to keep in mind.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? So, yeah, that's it for safety. Is that a wrap for today?
That's a wrap.
So be wary of your pets in the car and in inclement weather.
If you don't want your windows booped.
Yes, I love that. I love that. All right, well, join us next week on Let's
Let's
Boop
boop
Snoots.
snoots. Boop.
Boop.